Hey guys, I am John Carrick, author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and The Legend of Ashley Fox. Today we are looking at Conan the Barbarian, number 99. I got a new big stack of old Conan comics. Let me show them off for you for a minute here. Look at this. Hold on a second. These are very, very old, but there's a lot of them. Look at how old the paper is. Some of them are trashed. But most of these we have not seen yet, so this is going to be fun. And there's a reason that I am doing this. Because, okay, so, and I didn't know how much detail I was going to get into this, but I'm going to get into it. We got this, May, number 6. And some of you may not have watched the May 1 through 5 episodes. And you're not going to watch the May number 6 episode because we're not going to do it because Gene Ha hired a different artist to do the interior of his 6th issue. I don't know why. I don't care why. I'm not interested. I'm disconnected. This would be like if on the 6th episode of the TV show, you completely recast the show. I'm out. Also, similar problem with the greatest comic book ever created. Danger Girl Hawaiian Punch and Danger Girl Las Vegas. Now you see right on top where it says Campbell, Hartnell, Noto. Noto is drawing the interiors. I'm presuming this is a J. Scott Campbell cover, but I don't know who inked it because that does not look like Johnny Barracuda. Valerie looks good. Deuce looks good. Sydney looks good. Abby looks weird. Yeah, no. This is the second one, actually. This is the first one that they did. And I have a beef about this. I'm angry about this, and I'll show you why. So, again, this is not Danger Girl. I don't know what this is, but it ain't Danger Girl. Danger Girl's a good comic. This is garbage. This is garbage. Even I wouldn't publish this. If this was my own art, I wouldn't publish this. I'd put it out for free. Okay, so here's my complaint. Not this page, where we can see that his sketches clearly don't compare to Jeff Scott Campbell's sketches. Here's my complaint. Here's what I'm mad about. I don't think J. Scott Campbell was given the opportunity to draw this if he'd wanted to, because there are 15 vice presidents listed, and at this point, Wildstorm. Cliffhanger is an imprint owned by Wildstorm, and Wildstorm is an imprint owned by Detective Comics, or DC Comics. Detective Comics. It's really not focusing. So yeah, fuck you, Jim Lee. Fuck you. Your name's at the top of that list. And let's be honest, you would have never sold Wildstorm without Danger Girl. Because your shit sucked. Your stories were lame. Gen 13, and you know, obviously that's not true. It was all the great art that you did that sold Wildstorm. And I'm being an absolute jerk about it. But it sucks for this. And this guy, okay, so he was your protege. Does that mean you own all his work? And why is Abby's... I mean, I know sometimes the left one's bigger than the right. Anyhow, whatever. Fuck DC, fuck Jim Lee. And Marvel back in the 70s was great. And I have no right to be, look, I have no right to be mad at Jim Lee about that. I don't know what happened there. I'm just talking shit. But wouldn't it suck to be J. Scott Campbell and not own your work? Like, isn't Taylor Swift super pissed about that? Wasn't Paul McCartney mad? Didn't Paul McCartney sell the Beatles to Michael Jackson? I think he's the one who did that. Or was it Capitol Records? The idea of not owning your own characters and your own work, it's one thing when you're doing work for hire for a big company like Marvel or DC. That's one thing. But when you create your own title and they buy it from you and shove it like they did to Static Shock because he was competing with Miles Morales or Flash. No, because Static Shock was DC. Again, DC, guilty of this, bought a guy's character and shelved it. Took it away from him, didn't let him write and draw it anymore. This is appropriate. Today's Wild World Tarot is the Ten of Cups. World Fantasy Tarot, the Ten of Cups, the Leviathan. Doesn't that feel appropriate? So let's look at something good. Let's look at something great. Let's look at something that should make you happy. It certainly made me happy. Conan the Barbarian, number 99. I have never read this before. Today was my first time where he is facing man crabs of the dark cliffs. Now, okay, so when I first read this, I didn't look at the cover. I didn't pay any attention to it. I just opened it and started reading. And it wasn't until I started recording this that I'm realizing that Roy Thomas probably had a brush with a lady of the night, with a lady of the street, whose dark cliffs yielded some man crabs. I'm sorry, this is too funny. Or John, I think I heard Bosch Faustine say John Buscema. Whatever. I think everyone's called him John Buscema forever. I don't know how it's pronounced. I just love his art. Remember, Conan is like 24, 26 here. Clean shaven because he's not even really grown a beard yet. He's with Bellet, equally young, probably like 26, in charge of her own pirate crew. And they are raiding the west coast of Africa, burning all the villages. And they're heading south, and Bellet is mad. She's lost half her crew and half her treasure, or some significant amount of treasure. Bellet is angry, and she's working everyone super hard. Now, this is a fake conflict. It's not a real conflict. It's a made-up conflict. In order for the first few pages, for the exposition to have something driving it. And so Bellet is working her crew, but she can only work them through Conan and Nyaga, or Nagala, however you say that black guy's name. But she can only do it through them. She doesn't have any real power because she's a female. And we know this, but for these first couple pages, everyone pretends not to know, right? And they sail down to these black cliffs and find this abandoned ship moored nearby. And it can't have been there long because it would have been crushed on the rocks. So they take out a longboat. And also, you guys notice up here, this book had a bunch of grains, like sand in it, because it had been attacked. It had not been stored in plastic, and a little paper-eating bug got 1/4 of an inch. Maybe is that a 1/2 inch? That looks like 1/4 of an inch to me. Down into the book. And that's what happens if you don't put your books in plastic. And putting your books in plastic will also keep the pages from turning, from drying out quite so much. When they dry out, that's when they turn. Sort of like an apple turns brown if you don't eat it right away. It's the same sort of thing with paper. And so anyhow, they board the ship and find all these jade treasures. So they had gone to Katai, which is what we know as China in the east. China. And yeah. I believe these were Argosian ship merchants. They weren't really pirates. And Bellet points out that a lot of the treasure has been taken and she wants it. And so she is going to insist that all her guys go and get that treasure. And Conan says, look, I tolerate your bullshit, but you know what? We're getting to the end of it really quick. You need to calm yourself. And she kind of ignores him the way a woman will when she's bitchy. And Conan and the pirates put up with it because there is gold up ahead and they've already found some, and they loot that ship. And if I was them, I would have pulled that ship out to sea a little bit more away from the cliffs so they could take it. But we're going to find out why that's not really necessary. As they move up through the cliffs, there are these sulfur vents blowing hot air up through the sulfur. There's a place out here that is a sulfur whatever. It smells like ass. It's absolutely horrible. These guys are crabmen, and they have shells and pincers, and either Roy Thomas or John Buscema or someone in the bullpen got a bad case of the crabs, and they're doing this to make fun of them. That's also incredibly possible. Ernie Chan is the inker on this. I hope they're not making fun of the junior guy on the team. I hope they're making fun of some terrible editor who's a dick. That would be hilarious. Crabs from the Black Cliffs. That's fucking hilarious. They couldn't say the Black Coast, I guess. That is absolutely hilarious. They find this guy, the Argosians. He is the leader of their group. And he says these crab men keep coming and taking them one at a time. And Conan, you got to get us out of here. Help us. And Conan's like, all right, we'll help you. Bellet is like, we'll help you, but we're taking all the treasure, bitch. She basically says that right up front. There's this whole negotiation. Conan tells them to take off their leather shirts, and he ties all their shirts together. Oh, so here's come the crab men to take another guy. And yeah. There is 17 pages of comics and 15 pages of ads by the Jews who run Marvel Comics. 1979. The crabmen hold their own Argosian spikes against them. Pikes, not spikes, but pikes. Basically spikes, right? Spikes with metal tips. Conan tells them, give me your shirts. And he takes all their leather shirts and ties them together like a rope and to rip the bars out of the wall. Okay. Even if he soaked the leather shirts, and even if he braided them so that the knots couldn't come undone, I still have a hard time believing a leather rope could rip this out of the wall. But it's all we've got, and Conan does it by pushing a boulder off the cliff. And this is also kind of interesting. They solve two problems with one stone, literally. So this rock that he's pushing off the cliff frees the Argosians. Bellet tells them, we're taking all the treasure. This is halfway. Spider-Man. Okay, they're escaping. Go and get the treasure. And Conan and these guys are like, we can't carry all this shit, you dumb bitch. And so the crabs show up. Conan has to now fight the mad crabs. This is hilarious. They were having so much fun with this issue. This is just absolutely hilarious. This is awesome. Conan gets one in a full Nelson. Oh, also the crabs can read your mind. So the crabs have magic mind reading powers, and Conan has to think about nothing while he fights them. This is like the I guess there was a guy, not Von Klaus. This is an Alan Watts story about a guy who had to fight a bear. I think his name was Von Klaus or something. But Von Klaus is one of the indie comic guys in Comicsgate, so it's probably not him. There's a guy who had to fight a bear, and the bear could always guess his next move. And so the guy had to make his mind completely thoughtless in order to win. Now, you can't beat a bear, even if you can be clear of mind. But that's the same thing for Conan in the dialogue here, that he has to not think about what he's going to do before he does it. And then he gets this guy in a full Nelson and snaps his arms. There's so many things about this one that are hilarious that I'm just realizing right now. But we'll get to the next funny bit when we get to it. So Bellet is making these guys carry all the treasure. carry off the treasure while being chased by crabs. I'm sorry. This is too much. These guys, this is where comedy and comics mix, right? Like, now, panel comics in the newspaper that are illustrated jokes, those are funny too. But this is funny in a different way. Oh my God, this is too much. Conan notices that the rock that he pushed off the cliff, that all their shirts were tied to, has wedged into some of the sulfur vat. Oh my God, I'm realizing even more of this. So there's sulfur. There's a sulfur vent next to the crabs and the treasure of the Black Cliffs. You want to get the treasure, avoid the sulfur vents, and escape the crabs. Oh my fucking God. I never would have caught on to this as a fucking 10-year-old or 12-year-old or maybe even a fucking 18-year-old. I wouldn't have caught what's going on. The sulfur vents stink and Conan plugs one of them with a rock. And then, while he goes down to fight the crabs and distract them from coming up the hill and attacking the other pirates who are trapped in a cul-de-sac. Holy shit. Holy shit. He tells them to throw another rock at the sulfur vent. So, well, he goes down and fights the crabs. The pirates launch another giant boulder at the sulfur vent and explode it. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. Oh my God. The Black Cliffs. Holy fuck. They explode the evil sulfur vent and steam all the crabs alive. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Conan is running to escape. This is, oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. Holy shit. Spider-Man and Hostess. This is too fucking much. Oh my God. So now we get the news that all the crabs have been steamed to death, and the pirates are going to feast themselves on steamed crab meat. Conan has survived by finding a shallow pocket to hide in. Bellet lets the Argosians sail off with half the treasure, but she at first tells them they can't have any of the treasure. The treasure is all hers. Oh my fucking God, this is too much. She lets them go with half the treasure, but keeps half of it. Conan gets sick for a few panels and then finally recovers as they get out to fresh air. Oh, wow. This is the funniest comic I've ever fucking read. Holy shit. Wow. Just fucking wow. 100 toy soldiers for $1.75 with a little footlocker. That is hands down Conan and the dark crabs of the man crabs of the dark cliffs. Holy shit. Holy shit. Hey guys, I am John Carrick, author of Legacy of a Mad Scientist and The Legend of Ashley Fox. And today's episode is brought to you by these two novels and this comic book, Ashley Fox Ninja Babysitter, which is available for you as a PDF in the description. It's pretty good. Ashley and Reverend Wolf rescue a bunch of kids from bad guys in a castle check it out. But today's issue, Conan, and I also want to talk about this other stuff too. First, this Conan was really good. We'll talk about that in a minute. But about Jim Lee and Danger Girl and selling Wildstorm, why didn't you let Cliffhanger go? Did J. Scott Campbell want his stuff sold? Did he have a choice? Maybe he did. Maybe he did. And it's none of my business. It's the same thing here. I don't understand this. I don't understand. Look, and I'm guilty of it, right? Like, I drew this first, but it was really bad. And my skills are just not as good as Jay's. And if I could, I would pay him $150,000 for this comic. But that would mean it would have to make $300,000. But that's how much his artwork is worth to me. I'm clearly not a good judge of price. And I certainly would never be great at exploiting artists. Like I said, I own my own stuff. I haven't sold this. It's not worth it to sell it. There's no amount of money in the world you could give me that I would let someone else own Ashley Fox. And there is someone out there with a cheap junk jewelry store called Ashley Fox that came out. I started this before they started. So what do you do? What do you do? I think they came out in 2011 and I started writing this in 2005. You know? And I passed out a bunch of junk at San Diego Comic-Con 2005. So maybe they saw, I passed out postcards just like this in 2005 and a bunch of stuff. I had t-shirts. So maybe they saw that, you know? Who knows? It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because it has to be good. And that's what I love about this. So this, right, this is not trying to be in a trade paperback. This is a one-issue story. You don't need to read 3 issues around this to understand what happens. You just, this one story. It's a perfect comic book. And it's hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious. Sulphur vents, man crabs, a crazy female pirate who wants treasure. That is so fucking funny. So, also we have conflicted card. Today is the 4, I can't read this. What is this? The Jack of Hearts. It looks like the Jack of Hearts. I don't think it's diamonds. And this one, that's hearts. That's Jack of Hearts. And what this says is Gordon has to travel a distance after the collapse, and how would you go about it? I mean, start with gasoline if you can, and end up on a bicycle if you have to. I don't know. One step at a time. You know, you can generally walk about 20 miles a day if you're fit. And even that will wear on you. That will get to you after a day. The first day, you're going to be destroyed. But by the time you sleep it off, you'll be ready to go again the next day. And if that's your job, if that's your work, you can do that. You can do that. You can physically walk for 8 hours a day. And 8 to 10. You could probably do more. 16. A lot of guys have. So what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with Leviathan? Which is a great card. It's very green and blue. What do I have to talk about? I did a huge chapter last night, 1,600 words. It was really good. It was really good. It was kind of big, spanning. It's Jesus and Michael going out and visiting different locations in Los Angeles and then crashing in a monastery. They're basically setting up, basically this is Odin and Jesus Vampire Hunters is the novel, essentially. If vampires are the offspring of demons, and these demons are joining forces with the jinn to raise a necromantic army of dead things, and Odin and the Valkyrie are raising their own dead soldiers to fight them off. And it's really, and there's vampires and zombies, and it's a lot of fun. So I got a 1,600 word chapter done last night. And as soon as this is done, I'll be drawing for today. And Yeah, getting my workouts done. My legs were super sore. Yesterday was arms. Yesterday I did such a good arm workout that when I was at the grocery store carrying stuff, this forearm muscle went into spasms. That doesn't happen very often. I don't think I've ever felt it as bad as it was yesterday. Not in years, not in a decade. But that was pretty cool. So I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're healthy. I hope everything's going good for you. Keep your art close to your heart. Don't sell it. Don't let someone else own your characters. For some reason, I was thinking about John Fogerty and not Taylor Swift, but a band. What kind of band does corporate stuff versus John Fogerty, who got so destroyed by the music industry? You know, comic books and movies and novels, it's a lot like music. Anytime you're selling your art to investors and producers and distributors, they're like Mel Gibson said, they're gonna fuck you over and you have to not get mad. I don't know if I could have done that. I don't know if I could do that at this age. If someone fucked me over for my story, I'd murder them. It's a fucked up world we live in. It's a fucked up world we live in. So I'm glad I've held on to my stuff. It's not worth all the money in the world to have someone else owning my work and going out there. If I had $30 million and someone else owned my work, I could not be happy. I couldn't. If they were going out, and even if they were making, like even if I were getting royalties, I couldn't not be involved. Being involved that's the gold. It's not, getting paid for it is great. That's not what's great. What's great is getting paid to do the work. What's great is when people have faith in you and want you to do your comic. When they can't imagine anyone but J. Scott Campbell drawing Danger Girl. Why does the audience have to have more faith, more loyalty to the material than the artists? How can that happen? How can an artist get so betrayed that they can't work on their own stuff? I cannot, for the life of me, that will never sit right with me. John Fogerty getting, raped by the music industry versus, I had an example of a musician who played along to get along, and I don't remember who it is now. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. What does any of it matter? In the end, it doesn't matter. In the end, all that matters is that John Fogerty wrote great music and we get to listen to it. The Beach Boys, the Beatles, whoever, the Misfits. The Misfits had such a better catalog than Glenn Danzig ever had on his own. And I love Danzig, but I don't listen to him anymore. I still listen to the Misfits all the time. So, life is what you get out of it. And if you can find these little nuggets of joy, then take them wherever they pop up and hold on to them. And if you get the opportunity to produce that, and I'm writing it, I'm not drawing it, but I am writing it, and I wouldn't give that up for the world. All right, see you guys tomorrow.